Hello and welcome. It's me, Marls44. Welcome back to another Cardfight Vanguard. Cardfight area deck profile. Today's deck profile, we have the Diablos that are gonna beat you down into the abyss. Diablos deck, aka Blaster Dark Diablo deck. So yeah, with the release of GBT06, Diablos got their own support. I mean, Clarence Sword Dragon has always been the better deck and is still the better deck, but now you can play them separately. Like, you know, Blaster Dark Diablo has its own Diablo support to play, so you don't play Clarence Sword with it. And this deck is actually very easy to was very easy to make. Clarence Sword is a lot harder to make and is the better deck. As I said, I would like some help with it. Before we begin, I just wanted to say I would like some help with it, because there's lots and lots of stuff that you could do with Clarence Sword Dragon, and I just like, you know, some tips and stuff from you guys. So please leave that in the comments, so you can see a nice, awesome Clarence Sword Dragon deck next week. And yeah, without further ado, let's jump right into the deck profile. Blaster Dark Diablo, definitely a lot better than it used to be. It used to be just kind of a, it was like a good deck. It was a good deck, but it wasn't like amazing. It's definitely tons better this time with its own specific support and what the support does. So yeah. Anyways, our starter is still New Sharp Knight David. So really, there's no good starter for this deck. This is the best starter you can really get. And it helps out with, you know, Phantom Blaster Diablo anyways. So yeah. Anyways, moving on. Yeah, he's just pretty much handy, so you don't lose a lot of stuff on your Phantom Blaster Diablo turns, especially because you normally use Phantom Blaster Diablo near the end of the game too, so you might be kind of low on shield or something, so you kind of want to kill him because, yeah. Anyways, for Blaster Dark Diablo, so normally, the grade 3s, you don't, he's your main Vanguard, by the way. The grade 3s, you do not need to have a specific order you ride them in. There is an order, but like if you ride one over the other first, that's not bad, because they both work both ways really well. I do find that Blaster Dark Diablo is a bit better to ride later on, and it's better to ride, a bit better to ride the other one earlier, just because of what it brings. But one of the strides that the stride that comes with Blaster Dark Diablo, you know, your opponent can't guard with grade 0s and stuff, but the other one can pressure really early with restanding. So I don't know, it's very weird, and it's not bad if you run into Blaster Dark Diablo for the second time when you use the restanding guy anyways, because of how the restanding guy works and what he combos with the other guy. So there really is no specific order, both of them work, but I do find Blaster Dark Diablo is a tiny bit better to ride later on. Anyways, other grade 3 for Whirlwind of Darkness, Vortimer Diablo. What he does, G-Break 2, choose one of your rear guards and retire it during your turn when you G unit with Diablo and its original card name Stride. You may pay the cost. If you do, search your deck for up to one grade 1 card, call its rear guard, shuffle your deck. Then if you have a unit named Dark Dragon Spectral Blaster Diablo on Vanguard, choose your deck for up to one grade 1 card, call its rear guard, shuffle your deck, and the units called with this effect get plus 3k until end of turn. As other skill, counter plus 1, soul plus 1. When it's placed on Vanguard, if you pay the cost, you call a grade 1 to rear guard from your deck, shuffle your deck. So, yeah. He combos with the restanding Vanguard, the restanding Stride, sorry. Because with the restanding Stride, you basically stride on top of him, and then you pretty much get to kill one with the G-Break 2, which you will have at that time, and Superior Call 2, and they get plus 3. 2 grade 1s, and they get plus 3, right? Now, you're probably not going to need to do that a second time, which is why I said you can go into Blaster Dark Diablo the second time, and it'll make it easier to stride anyways, because, you know, you could drop whatever, because it counts, right? So, That's really handy, and that's part of the reason why I say it's better for him first to get that set up. So you use this guy your first 2 strides, and then you go into Blaster Dark Diablo afterwards. So the second stride is obviously going to get you a couple grade 1s, and then afterwards you just go into Blaster Dark Diablo. Yeah, that's really it. Like, he just sets up a couple grade 1s, and then you can switch back, and he's a really good Vanguard too. And I mean, he gets a Spear Call grade 1 when he's called too, right? So even if he doesn't get the 3rd grade 1, it's not a big deal. You don't even have to use that when he's placed on Vanguard 1, because you have the G-Break 2 1, which pretty much is just tons better. It's just, you have to wait a little longer, but it works because you have cards to Superior Call stuff. So yeah, they just combo really well. As you can tell, you know, it is hard to see which one. There is a tiny difference of which one you would prefer to ride, but you know, it's not a big difference because they both do their stuff. You know, Blaster Dark Diablo retires. This one, Vortimer, Superior Calls. So they both help each other out, and that's part of the reason I feel this guy works first, because you can call some stuff, and then once your field's full, okay, switch it to Diablo, boom, retire stuff as you ride Phantom Blaster Phantom Blaster Diablo, and then you could finish it off with the restanding one for the last one. So like, you get a Phantom Blaster Diablo off, and then you can go back to the restanding one and end the game, even though you're on Blaster or Diablo. Anyways, moving on to our grade 2s. We have 4 Dark Knight Maiden, Macha. Still really amazing card for her. 4 Black Chain Flame Dance Formation, Hoel. This card's awesome. What it does is G-Break 1. When your other grade 1 unit is placed on rearguard, if you have Vanguard with Diablo in its card name, choose up to one of your Vanguards, and it gets plus 3k until end of turn. Then if the unit was placed is Black Chain Spirit Dance Formation Kahedin, which is the grade 1 version of this card pretty much, you get to unflip and soul charge 1. You unflip damage, soul charge 1. So that's really big, especially with how many counterblasts you use. And this card just combos so well with the deck. You need 4 of this, no less, and it's just so strong combined with the grade 1 version and what it does. And then we have 3 Dark Saga Painter. So what she does is G-Break 1 when this unit is placed on rearguard. If you have Vanguard with Diablo in its card name, draw a card, choose a card from your hand and discard it. And continuous in deck, if you have Vanguard with Diablo in its card name, this unit gets grade -1. So pretty much you could Superior Call this from your deck, because you always call grade 1s, right? But this card lets you Superior Call it from your deck. Kind of like the Royal Paladin version, just not as good. This version's still good too, and it helps you thin out your deck a little, get rid of cards you don't want in your hand, and it's just a handy Superior Call extra little shield, right? Like, most of the time, the reason you'll Superior Call this is to abuse the intercept. You abuse the drop and draw and abuse the intercept. You know, you get a bit more shield, because most of the time, the other grade 2s you'll be using a lot more. This card just kind of helps out with being there to just free Superior Call, pretty much an extra 5k shield because of that. And, you know, it's pretty much a free Superior Call in the front row. So and she helps you thin out your deck too. So she's pretty good. Only need 3 of her though. 4 is too much, definitely. On to grade 1s, damage on flipper, P-Guard, Karma Collector. And then we have 4 Black Chain Spirit Dance Formation, Kahedin. What it does is G-Break 1 when this unit is put into the drop zone from rearguard for the cost of your ability. If you have a grade 3 graded Vanguard with Diablo in its card name, choose up to one of your Vanguards, and until end of turn it gets power plus 5,000, and auto Vanguard when this unit attack hits a Vanguard, search your deck for up to 1 grade 1 card called to rearguard, shuffle your deck, and then if there's a unit named grade 2/1, you know, Black Chain Dance Formation Hoel on your rearguard, the unit called this effect gets power plus 5k. So that's really good for comboing, especially because it doesn't say you can't call this card out, right? So what you could do is you could kill this card on your rearguard. So this is the card you always target to kill, pretty much. You'll always target to kill this card unless you use Phantom Blast or Diablo, which you have the starter to help you out with. You can play a different starter if you want because you have this card as a target, but I still find the starter is very helpful, honestly. Anyways, you use this card, kill it, right, for any of your skills, say Vortimer, anything like that, the Restanding Vanguard one, something like that, you kill it. Vanguard gets +5, it gets that skill of, if it hits, you Superior Call Grade 1, you Superior Call this card, it gets +5, Hoel's skill goes off. Sure, the +3 for Hoel on your Vanguard, the +3 that Hoel gives to your Vanguard is kind of wasted, but that's not really what you aim for. You basically get an unflip and soul charge. And I mean, if you did call it earlier, then if you did call it Grade 1 earlier, then your Vanguard will get +3. So yeah, it's just so strong. Much better than the other cards that, like, the other Grade 1 and Grade 2 that combine with each other, just so much better. And another thing, Hoel skill activates when you just, like, call a Grade 1 too, so if you call it from your hand, boom, it works, and you can unflip 2 damages that turn, right? And if it's this card too. That's what I mean, you can unflip, so that's pretty crazy, honestly. Anyways, 3 Stride Enablers. Diablo, no Clarence Sword Searchers, but no Clarence Sword in this deck, so never mind. And then we have 3 Dark Hut Trumpeter, super handy for just getting yourself some pluses when you have Blaster Dark Diablo as your Vanguard. You only need 3 because you normally do call out the Grade 1 of the Flame Dance when you have Vortimer. That's like your aim. Once you get Blaster Dark Diablo, then you start calling Trumpeter and getting some pluses off of that, because it combos so well, right? So, but yeah, you just need 3 of them. No more than that. More than that's kind of much. The other card's so important anyways. On to our triggers. We have 4 Jumping Knight Ligan Lumna, 4 Gravehorn Unicorn, and 4 Death Feather Eagle. I love how Death Feather Eagle looks. I always did. So 8 crit. You're plussing so much, of course. And then 4 Flatbau. So 4 heal. 8 crit, 4 heal. You plus so much, and you need to deal so much pressure. The 12 crit's much better. Sorry, not 8 crit, 4 heal. 12 crit, 4 heal. My bad. I can't believe I said that. Anyways, on Stride units. 4 Phantom Blaster Diablo, your Stride unit that doesn't let your opponent your opponent has to kill 2 of their units, or they have to, they can't call stuff to Guardian Circle, and on top of Blaster Dark Diablo, you get to kill a unit if it's on top of him, which is why this card is really good at endgames too. It just depends on, whether it's this one or the Restanding Vanguard that you want to choose to end the game with, like which one is a better condition for it. So this card is just so good. 4 of it, can't play any less. And then we have 3 Dark Dragon Spectral Blaster Diablo. So what this card does is once per turn, Soul Blast 1, choose a face down card from G-Zone, turn it face up. So you could pick any face down card, and that's actually why we play 3. Or else we'd be forced to play 2 if you had to have him flip himself. But we get to play 3 because of that. And choose one of your rear guards and retire it until end of turn. This unit gets once per turn, G-Break 3, Counterblast 2, and choose 2 of your rear guards and retire them. So this card works with the start as well. I'm sorry, I forgot about that. This card also works with the starter, not just Phantom Blaster Diablo. So you use one of these 2 cards to... one of these 2 strides to kill your starter, pretty much. And G-Break 3, Counterblast 2, choose 2 your rear guards. Yeah, I said that. Retire them. At the end of the battle, let this unit attack the Vanguard. You may pay the cost. If you do, stand this unit, and it gets drive -2 until end of turn. If you have a Heart Guard with Diablo and his card name, search your deck for 1 Grade 1 card, call to rear guard, and shuffle your deck. So the cool thing about this is actually, if so you can kill your starter with this guy, and then superior, because your starter counts as 2 sacrifices, right? So you kill your starter, and then you just superior call another card so you're pretty much guaranteed to like not lose a card off of that, and you get to restand, which is really really good, obviously. Now, when you first attack, you keep your triple drive, but the second attack you only get one drive check. So it's kind of a weird restanding Vanguard. It's not 2 drive checks both times, it's 3 and then 1. So you do have to play it a little more careful with that, but yeah, I mean, normally you give your power to rear guards anyways when you have restanding Vanguards, because they could just stand back up. Restanding strides, sorry, because they could just stand back up. Their power's so much, like, so much power. Anyways, the reason we actually play 3 of these, and actually the soul charging helps out with this card too, because this card soul blasts as well on top of your trumpeter, so you do need soul charging as well, which makes Hoel even better. So the reason we play 3 of these is actually because it can unflip any card in the G zone. So you have your starting Stride unit, then you have 3 of these and 4 Phantom Blaster Diablo, right? So Diablo needs to unflip itself. So you need to play 4 of those because they're so good. But you also need this card because this card's really strong. Now you can't choose to play 2 of this card or 2 of Phantom Blaster Diablo and play 4 of the other. And you could play like a Dark Knight Effelison, but I really don't recommend it because you never really need that card. These 2 cards are too good, but they're both like situation of which card works better in the situation. Do you want the restanding, or do you want the pressure on the rear guards and your opponent might not be able to guard, right? It depends. And you can pretty much beat your opponent down so hard with this deck, especially with the 12 crit. It helps so much with these 2 stride units. It's ridiculous. But the cool thing about playing 3 of these is you could have already used a Phantom Blaster, which means there's 2 flipped face up, and you already used this card, so there's 2 of these flipped face up, right? And then there's your first stride unit flipped face up. So now you have one of these and a Phantom Blaster Diablo. So now you could pick between either or. If you pick this one, you have to flip up a Phantom Blaster Diablo. That means you can't use the last one. Unfortunately, like, you could stride, but it won't do anything. It's kind of part of the reason you might want to play the other card and like drop this card down to 2 and play the other card, or put this card up to 4, drop Phantom Blaster Diablo down to 2. But I actually prefer it this way because it really makes it like is situational, super pressure heavy, and ridiculous, honestly. It's all up to you. It's all preference, right? Like the stride lineups, this stride lineup is super preference, honestly. Because you can play 4 of this, and 2 of Blaster Diablo, Phantom Blaster Diablo, or you can play 4 Phantom Blaster, 2 of this, and if you do either of those, you could play 1 of the Effin guy that I said, for the situational thing. Let me show them off again, actually, right here. Or you could choose to play my lineup and, you know, go with whichever one you need. And the cool thing is you could finish striding with whichever one you need because of just how this guy's skill works. So, I don't know. I prefer it like this, but there are multiple ways you can run it. And I mean, you can run a Blizza if you want to, but Blizza's not needed in this deck. Not at all. Because of both of them just being able to have so much pressure, and they can both of them can end games pretty well. So, anyways, and then we have 1 Dark Knight Grim Recruiter. So your starting stride unit. All right. Well, that's about it for this deck profile. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. Remember about the Clarence Sword Dragon. Give me some tips on that and stuff. Yeah, as I said, the stride lineup is really the stride lineup in this deck is the only flexible thing. Everything else is pretty much standard, and there's no need to change it because it all works so beautifully. So, I mean, you can run, instead of Trumpeter, you can run Cherishing, but I really don't find that you need to anyways, so. I mean, you could run 1 or 2 if you want, but I don't know. I don't find you need it. Anyways, that's about it. See you guys next time.